So good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's class. Today happens to be day 14th, and we are still going strong, right? So what I want to do today is the skills that we've learned. For those of us that we haven't done much or we haven't been joining the class, then we have missed a lot, right? So because today we want to use one of those skills that we have to actually do something on bank statement. So if you want to analyze your bank statement and then from that bank statement, you want to generate your trial balance, we're going to look at how to go about it today, right? So you can see examples, yeah, examples, but the one we would like to adopt is this kind of trial balance, where you're going to have this trial balance here. Here you're going to have like this is like a standard format, right? A standard format. So here you're going to have descriptions, you're going to have the debit side, the credit side, the account type. Now this is different from the trial balance that we actually use. Yeah, that one we had was chart of account. Yeah, so this is the extension of your chart of account is your trial balance. So this is actually different from what we did when we were looking at the chart of account. For those people that were in the training, when we did chart of account. So the extension of your chart of account is your trial balance, and this is how the trial balance looks like. So the trial balance, obviously, you're going to have items for financial position. So if you check from here now, you're going to see that most of the items that we have here from here, we have share capital, right? We have retained earnings, we have impact on adopting IFRS 9 on retained earning. We have fair value reserve, director's account, deferred tax liabilities, current taxation. So all these things. So this is always going to be useful for whoever is in the accounting field, right? So if you're not in the accounting field as well, but you're an expert, you are into Excel, somebody can just call you and say, please come and help us do something on our account, right? So you need your Excel skill. You should be able to like get a formula that can easily get all these details that they're actually looking for. So that is that. So now this is what we're going to use, right? We're going to use this one. Then we are also going to analyze our bank statement. So if you see here, I have bank analysis June to 2023. So what I want to do is that I want to first of all create an extra of this. Let me just create a copy so that we will not work on this one and spoil the file, the data on it. So I'm just going to call these like, let me put it on my desktop. Just want to call it, just call it trial balance. Yeah, so this is what we're going to use. Then I'll just save it on my desktop so that in case I want to share to us, I can easily access it from there. So when I come over to here where we have analysis, right? What you want to do is that I want to delete all the things that I have here as the analysis because we're not going to use this one. Or alternatively, I'm going to see what I should do. Alternatively, okay, let me check it for this one. Okay, alternatively, all right, so let's use this one. Yeah, let's use this one. So you are going to have something like this, right? You're going to have something like this. I want to delete everything that is here. So I want to delete everything that is here. Delete. Now, when you have something like this, you're going to have, just like the way you have your bank statement, you're going to have the value date. Apart from the value date, you're going to have also the month, right? You're going to have the month, you're going to have the value date, you're going to have the narration, you're going to have debit, credit, you're going to have source, then you're going to have your narration. Now, there's a narration that is going to come from the bank. So we're going to check that bank statement and see what needs to be done. So let me quickly go and check if I've opened the bank statement. Yeah, so this is the bank statement. So on a bank statement, on a typical bank statement, okay, it's too. So on a typical bank statement, you're going to have value date, you're going to have transaction date, value date, narration, debit, credit, and so on and so forth. So exactly what we have here is what we are going to have on our Excel sheet. So the first thing we are going to do is we are go and download, we are go and convert this thing from this format, from PDF format to Excel. So we simply go to our PDF. Sorry, we go to our Chrome browser. Then we want to now search for I I love, sorry, PDF. So I love PDF. So just click on this. I love PDF. So PDF to Word, PDF to Excel. Okay, this is what we need. PDF to Excel. So we now click on this one. PDF to Excel. You click on this, right? When you click on this, then you now look for the file that you're actually looking for. Okay, I don't think I like this one. PDFs. Okay, let's upload it here. Upload PDF to convert. Let's just click here. I'm going to look for the PDF we want to convert. So I think go to desktop, click here, click here. So we can use any of these. I said we should use this one, and we should use this. So let's just click on these, and then let's click on open. So once you click on open, say please wait, processing document. So let's wait for it to finish processing. Then when it's done processing, then we can easily download it. Well, let's wait. Wait, this is not giving me. Okay, so convert. Convert. Your document is being processed. So I need to be convert to SLS. Yeah. So continue. It is not, let me see. It is not supposed to. So this is not what I'm looking for. So this is not I love PDF. Let me go and check for what I'm looking for again. Okay, this is not supposed to take us so much time. Let's go back and click on I love PDF. I love PDF. Then you now search for I love PDF. So here we can click on this. When we click on these, and we see that convert PDF to Excel. This is what we're looking for. Yeah, so we drop our file here. We come and select this one. Yeah, so click on open, and then we click on convert to Excel. So it's processing now. Okay, so after you've done that, you want to download the Excel. So we've downloaded the Excel, then we want to open the Excel. Right, but this is not what I want to use to open it. Then I'm going to open it with a proper. So let me go back to the download and open this file with Excel. So this is the file. Enable editing. So this is the file. So we just quickly go to. So the first, all these ones, they are no data here. No data here as well. We come to table 4, table 5. There's nothing in table 5. Why? Then table 6, table 7. Okay, so we have it under table 7. So the first transaction we have here, we are having, yeah, so what you need to do is that we are going to copy, right? So let's take away this. So you're going to copy. You're going to copy from, this is the narration. So copy the narration. Yes, please. Okay, so sorry about that. A call that was very important. So you can see the step we're taking. So if you have been following the steps, understand the first thing is if you have your file as PDF, you need to convert it from PDF to Excel. Once you've converted it to Excel, which is your bank statement, then the next thing is that you want to now have something like this, right? So this is what we want to have. So exactly the way your bank statement usually is, you're going to have the value date that is on your bank statement. You're going to have the narration from the bank statement. So we now come to where our bank statement is. We copy the narration aspect. We come to this other place. We also come and paste the narration here. So paste it special. So I can just paste Control V. Oh, let me go back and copy again. Let me see. Copy, Control C here. We come over here. We come and paste it special. We paste 1, 2, 3. So we are pasting 1, 2, 3. Fine. So once you've pasted this one, so this is the first step. So your narration now is, so let me put this one as going to be narration as at bank, as narration as in the bank statement, as in the bank statement. So narration as it is in the bank statement. So this is how we are going to have it. Then the next thing is that you want to also copy all the value dates. So this is the value date. You copy the value date as well. You copy the value date from here. Then you come back to the what we are using. You come and paste it here, special, paste special 1, 2, 3. Then the next thing you want to do, you want to also copy all the debit and the credit. So this is the debit side. You copy it exactly the way it is. You come and put it on the debit side as well. But I'm going to tell us one thing. If we're actually using our cash book, it's going to be the reversal. From your cash book, what you have on the debit side of the cash book is what you're actually going to put on the credit side of what we are going to use for our analysis. So, but bank statement and the trial balance that we want to use, they have the same. You can see that this is bank analysis. So exactly the way it will be on the bank is what we are putting it over here. Is that exactly what we are putting over here? But if you want to use your cash book, for people that have cash book, you want to use cash book for your analysis, whatever you have on the debit side of your cash book, right, is what will be on the credit side of your bank statement. And whatever you have on the debit side of your bank statement is what will be on the credit side of your cash book. So you must note that. Now you can see that here we've copied the value date, we've copied the narration as in the bank statement, we've copied the debit side exactly the way it is. But if it's cash book we are using, you are going to do the opposite, right? Whatever you copy on the debit side of your cash book, you come and put it on the credit side, assuming it's cash book to bank statement we are doing. Now, the next thing you want to do is that you're asking yourself, what is the source? Where did we get this information? We got it from Heritage Bank. So we say Heritage Bank. So Heritage Bank, and then what kind of Heritage Bank is it? It can be Heritage Bank operations account. So we just say Heritage Bank operations. So we can say OPS, Heritage Bank operations, Heritage Bank operations account. Then the next thing is that you now start doing your narration. So because all these things are from Heritage Bank, you simply come here and put everything like this. It's from Heritage Bank, right? So then the next thing you want to do, you want to also do your own narration, right? Your own analysis, because what is here, they have their own description, but you want to do your own description as well. Then the next thing you want to do is that here, where you have your month, you know, all these are, what month is this? I think all these are, is it January? Let me check the bank statement again. So let me check the bank statement. So this is, yeah, all of them are January, right? So there's a possibility that you might have transactions for the whole of the months, January, February, March, April. In order for it not to module up, you need to, under months, you need to put January, so that you will know at a glance what is the transaction I'm dealing with. In case there's an issue with that statement, or there's something that is wrong, you can quickly trace it back to Heritage Bank, right? And trace it back to the month of January. So that helps you to easily be able to match this. There are times that the date you put here might not be well formatted, or something can happen. But if you put January here, automatically you know that all these things, they are January. You don't need to start racking your head and so on and so forth. And the next thing you want to do is that let's work on the balances first. The first thing you want to do is that you want to work on the balances. So what is our open balance? So let's go back to this, our bank statement, and see, okay, you can see that in this, our opening balance, right? Opening balance section, under our debit, there is 0. Under our credit, there is 0, but we are still having 188 as the balance, all right? Then also on 5th of January, we saw that there is a payment that came in on the credit side, and then we now discover that the balance increased from 188,000, it increased to 235,000. Therefore, it means that the balance, the opening balance that we actually have, is actually a credit balance. So we are going to copy this. This is 188,000 and this. So this is our opening balance. We come back to our Excel. We come and put it here as the opening balance. Okay, so this is our opening balance. So let me just press Ctrl V. Fine. So that's our opening balance. Fine. Then the next thing we want to do is that now we now see that since you have your opening balance here, what you want to do is here you want to call it Heritage Bank. Heritage Bank. Your opening balance is going to be Heritage Bank. And I'm going to tell us why it's going to be like that. Now, once you call that your heritage, right? So this is just for January. That means that you can do the same for February, you can do for March, you can do for April, May, June, July, August, September, October. And this transaction is very small. There are some transactions that will be like 30 pages, 50 pages, and all that. So just follow through what I'm doing, okay? If you have any question, you can always ask. I will attend to us. Then the next thing we want to do is I want to determine what is our closing balance. So the first thing we worked on is our opening balance. We knew that our opening balance is actually 188 and all that. Then at this right-hand side, we came to put the bank that we're working on, Heritage Bank. There's something they call cash and cash equivalents in accounts, right? To know what is remaining in your bank. If you check your opening balance, you check your closing balance, then you can tell those are the balances from the bank. We can have cash in hand, cash in bank, you know, balance at the cash book. Okay, you also need to compare it with balance in the bank. So yeah, we now call our opening balance, we are calling it the same name of the bank, Heritage Bank. So that when we get to our trial balance, under our cash and cash equivalent, we are going to have this Heritage Bank there, the report. It will be reporting the figure that we have over there under Heritage Bank. Then the next thing we can also have for now, let me also say something. You can see that under this source, I put Heritage Bank. Remember, we are trying to get the account for the year. You can have different banks. You can have, so this is operations account. You can also have client accounts and all that. So operations account, we get different banks. Maybe we are using different banks. You are using Heritage, you are using GT, you are using different banks. You continue to get all the banks like that, narrate them, so that at the end of the day, when you want to sort, you can easily sort and say, okay, this information only belongs to Heritage Bank. If you want to get information that belongs to only GT Bank, you can also sort it to get information that relates to GT Bank and other banks. So importantly, the month at the beginning here is important. The value date will be gotten from the bank statement. The narration will be as at the bank. Then our debit side, exactly the way it's on the bank. Our credit side, exactly the way it's on the bank. The source now, what bank are you using for the narration? You're going to put it here. Then apart from having all this, then you also come and do your own narration on what you understand by each of the transactions that has happened in the bank. Okay, so that is that. Then the next thing is that I said the first thing to do is work on the opening balance, which we have done. Our opening balance is this amount. And then we say this opening balance, it relates to Heritage Bank. in case you want to get, okay, what balance is our opening balance? Our balance is for Heritage Bank. Then another time I normally do is I can also say opening balance and I put dash. Sorry, I put dash and I put Heritage Bank, so that at any point in time I could have like I could be working, I could be analyzing like 50 banks, right? Depends on the volume of transaction and the numbers of banks that the company has. You could be analyzing as many banks as possible. You also want to use this one at a glance to know which of the banks own this opening balance. I also do that also for the closing balance. So we've done the opening balance already, and we know that our opening balance is this. Now, the next thing we want to do is I want to now do our closing balance. So what we do is that we first of all come to the bottom, you come and sum at the bottom, right? You now press your Alt equals to, Alt and equals to. Now, just like the way Alt equals to is, if you are trying to use this formula, though it's a shortcut, if you are trying to use this formula, if there are spaces in between what you are doing, Excel will not get the answer for you. So I also taught us something where they say trace precedence, right? Trace precedence. Just press your control, then open bracket, not that the normal open bracket too. That open bracket that looks like, let me show us. I showed us that day, this open bracket that you're going to see. Okay, let me make it very big so that I can see. So you can see this now, this here. So this is what I'm talking about. So you press control with this, sorry, you press the control key with this thing right here. So this is going to help you to, hold on, I'm coming. Yeah, so this, so that will help you to be able to know what you have added, if it's properly added or not. So whether you add it well or whether I didn't add it well. So what I did is I to sum, I needed to sum both debit side and the credit side, right? All I did is that I selected both the credit side and both the debit side. I press my Alt equals to. When I press my Alt equals to, sorry, let me repeat it. Sorry. So I select the both side where I need the answer. Then I press Alt equals to. So when I press Alt equals to, I don't know why it's not showing here. Let me delete this one. Let's start again. So here, now come here, then Alt equals. Okay, so yeah, it has shown now. So you discover that it got me the answer, but you don't need to just rely on whatever it's giving you. Already it's telling us here that there's nothing in this box, that this space is 0, which is telling us that something is actually fundamentally wrong. They need to now audit it. Where is it summing? So I just press my control, open bracket. You can see it's just summing from here to this place. So what we need to do is that when I come here, we need to redo this our sum. So we can do it manually, but at the same time, we can just go to this place and drag. So we want to sum from here to here. Okay, fine. You can click on enter. Then you also want to copy what is here. You also want to copy it here so that both sides are summing the same way. So now you can now audit it now. Where is it summing from? So if we check, you see that it is actually summing from the first place where the data is to the last place where the data ought to be. Okay, so that is fine. And that is correct. Now you will not check here is lower than this side, right? So let's check it whether there's going to be difference between our credit side and our debit side. So most times, credit side will be higher than the debit side. So you now say equal to the credit side minus the debit side. So once you do that, press your enter. So you discover that the credit side is actually higher than the debit side by 74,000. So it's actually higher than the debit side by 74,000. So what do we need to do? We now copy this, right? We copy it like this. This difference, we copy it like this. We come and put it here. Just like they will say balance carried out. We come and put it in the opposite side. So we come and put it in the opposite side like this. So once you put it in the opposite side, then you now let's resum, or let me do something. Let me delete it first. Let me delete it first. Sorry. So let me adjust my summation, right? So that it not only capture that place. I want you to see what I'm trying to show us. So you come here, you want to sum from the beginning here like this, and summing from the beginning right to this place, right? So click on enter. It will now copy this one also. We want to put it here also. So we have the same thing. So here we've seen that the difference between the credit side and the debit side is this value. So we want to copy this value and put it on the opposite side here. So we now paste it special. We paste it special, right? You can see that that difference that we ought to have had, it has already netted it off. The next thing you want to do is that you want to now classify this one as your closing balance. Closing balance, then you now say for Heritage Bank. Okay, so closing balance for Heritage Bank. Then you also want to now come over here and come and put this. Then also, yeah, it's also a balance, right? You also put Heritage Bank. That's fine. So that's what you're going to do. Then you know that for January, we're going to have like 31st of January. So we want to have January 31st, then the same year, 2021. So that is our closing balance. So that's how we get our closing balance. So since we've achieved that, the next thing you want to do is that you want to now do something. Now there are certain transactions that you can easily classify. So that now takes us to our knowledge of sorting, right? Our knowledge of sorting. So already this thing has been activated for us already to sort. It has been activated for us already to actually sort. So you can just, in case it's not activated, let's come over here and select everywhere. I told us if you want to sort, select everywhere that you have the data. Okay, select everywhere that you have the data. So I'm selecting all the places that have the data. Then you can quickly go to your under data, right? Under data, then look at this thing that they call filter. You can click on filter. Okay, you see that we've taken away that drop down. You can go back to data again, right? And go and click on that filter again. And this filter now will put a drop down here. So remember, make sure everywhere your data is, make sure that you select all the places that your data is before you activate that filter. Once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is that you want to now sort. Let's sort from anywhere. Let's say we want to sort from our debit side. So let's say we want to sort from, let's say the smallest to the largest. We sort it from the smallest to the largest. So we can see that here we have all these small figures. Here are all the small figures. So the smallest to the largest. Then here we also want to sort this one as well. Let's also sort this one, largest to smallest. So it can be this way. It can also be this way. So here now we have it this way. So here is the largest. We have sorted both sides down and they are all looking fine. We can decide to put 0, 0, 0 where there's nothing, right? There's nothing here. All this place we can put 0. We can also put 0 here. From here down, there's nothing here. Fine. So now once we are done with this, we have to now start our classification. We now say, okay, for all these ones that are on the credit side, apart from this opening balance that we know that is an opening balance, right, which we have to classify as the name of the bank that I told us, the other things that are going to be on the credit side, you can actually call them either sales. Let's call them sales, for instance. Let's say sales. Let's say it's sales. So that is sales, okay? Then anywhere there is credit, we can call it sales. Also be sure that it is not a loan from somebody or something like that, okay? It's not a loan like that is actually sales. So once you've classified that as sales, the next thing you want to do is that you want to now come to your debit side, because this bank statement is very short. That's why I'm even using it. So you want to come to the debit side, okay? You discover that most of these small figures, they are usually going to be bank charges, okay? They're usually going to be bank charges. If you check here, see, this is 238.93. So this is the bank charge. So you come here, you now call it bank charges. So these bank charges. So you want to copy these bank charges like this. Copy it. Since we have filtered it and it's only showing us the smallest to the largest. So copy it and come and put it where those small figures are. Control V. We have called all those place bank charges. Then the last thing that we have here is this, and this is like a check to actually pay some people. So this check now, you can call it whatever name you want to call it. Either you can call it, let's call it something like commission expense. Now, then the industry that you are also determine what you have to call your sales, right? The industry that you are also determine what you have to call your sales. Okay, so the industry that you are also determine what you have to call your sales. So here, I'm calling this one commission expense because I know this is like an insurance industry. Then the sales, right, is going to be like commission. So the sales is going to be commission. Commission. So commission. Commission. Here also is commission. Here also is commission. Okay, so that is the sales that they have. So once you have done this and you feel that you are okay with what you have, the next thing you want to do is that you want to now go to where your trial balance should be, right? So your trial balance, you want to go to where your trial balance should be. And your trial balance could be anywhere, right? So let's say this is our trial balance, right? So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to like just create another trial balance, which I don't want to use this one. I just create another trial balance. So the actual one that we are trying to adopt is actually this one. But most of this information that we have here, the bank statement we analyze does not have enough information for us to be able to use this actual bank statement. But I just want to show us how we can actually use Excel. Okay, you can use Excel to actually get this thing done. This thing that I did here. So in case you have, let me come back to this one. In case you have a bank statement that is like this, right? You can see this bank statement is the transaction on it is very much exactly the way I did the one I did then was how I also did this one. You can see I also put the source. The source here we have Stanbic operation. So if you click on this drop down arrow, you can see how many banks did I analyze? Only Stanbic operation, and it's so much. If you have anything to say, you can always raise your hand. Madam Kuka, Afola Shade, you're putting on music in the class, Abby. Okay. So we now come back to this our template, right? So you saw the way I analyze the little one. The same way I analyze the little one is the same way you're going to analyze this one that is very big. So you can see that here, because there are a lot of small transactions, and I know that all these transactions, they are likely to be bank statements. So because I've sorted it, I've said, okay, give me from the highest to the I can say smallest to the largest, right? You can see that this is where all those smallest figures are. Then from all those smallest figures, under my narration, I call it bank charges. So all the places where I have those small figures, I just copy the bank charges all through till look at the bank charges so much till I was able to finalize the bank charges here. So this is also an account maintenance fee, which is also a bank charge. Then every other thing, I also did the classification of every other thing. But you can see that all these things are so much that if you don't have Excel skills, you might not be able to get what you want to achieve from them. So once you've been able to get your bank analyzed like this, the next thing you want to do is that you want to go and, though you can also use pivot table that we did the last time. You can use pivot table just the way we did it the last time, okay? Yes, you can do pivot table the way we did the last time, but we might not achieve much using pivot table. The reason is this. Let me tell us why you will not achieve much when you use pivot table. If you use pivot table for this, you discover that there are some bank charges that you're going to have on the credit side, which you also have on the debit side. So those bank charges, they will not net each other off, right? They will net each other. That means that you need to like get the result for each of those places. So let's try to use pivot table for this. So what we do is that we click in the worksheet, or let's go and use this small data first. We click in the worksheet. When you click in the anywhere in the worksheet, then go to insert, just like the way we did yesterday. When you get to insert, come to your pivot table. Remember I told you about anywhere there is figures. Who can unmute and tell me, who can guide us on how to use pivot table for this to get our narration? Who can guide us here? Is there anybody that can guide us on how to use pivot table to get all these things classified in a very good way? Do we have any volunteer? Hello? Let me try. Okay, just that your voice is very low. I don't know what could be the issue.
Okay, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. Okay, so we are listening to you.
Okay, and using the pivot table, we can put the debit.
Increase your voice, sir.
Okay, I say using the pivot table. Just
okay.
Like we did yesterday, we can put, since the debit and the credit involve money as it involves value, we can put them on the value segment.
Okay.
We can add debit and credit to the value segment.
Okay.
Then the narration, we can put them on this column. Yes, column. I can't really remember, but if you put the pivot table, I will be able to remember.
Okay, so this is it. So once you come to this your just click anywhere in this your data stuff. Once you click anywhere, come to your insert. Once you come to insert, then come to the left hand side, you will see pivot table, right? Click on pivot table, and automatically it's going to go and only select only the place where those figures are. You can see there is something they call the matching ant. It's only selecting only where the figures are, and that is what we have been selected. Then it's now telling us that it's going to create whatever result we need. It's going to create it on another new template or another new worksheet, which is fine by us. We now click on OK. So now what do we want to do? We are the one that's going to tell how we want our result to be. Okay. So since we know that our narration is what is important to us, right? We want to use our narration. We come and click carry our narration, right? Let's drop it under the role. Our narration, let's drop it under the role. Okay, so you can see the numbers of things that we have. We have bank charges, we have commission, we have commission expense, we have Heritage Bank, which is our cash and cash equivalent. Then the next thing we want to do is that I want to also carry so we need the figures, right? So I want to carry this our debit. I want to put it inside the value table, right? So it's going to tell us that okay, for our bank charges, we have 414.85 debit, right? Then we also want to check our commission it's an income, so it's not going to be on the debit side. That's why we have 0 here. Our commission expense is a debit, is also on the debit side, and this is the amount. Our Heritage Bank, yes, so it has 74 on the debit side. Then let's now come to where we have our credit. We also drag our credit and also put it into the value box because both of them are data. So you can see here now, we also have a credit, bank charges, there's nothing on the credit side. Our commission, this is the total sales we have. Our commission expense, nothing. Then our bank, our Heritage Bank, we have this, we have this. Now automatically you can, so once you are done using pivot table like this, what you can now do is that you can say, do we filter it by month? Probably you have gotten the total information you need for every of those things. Then I say, okay, let's filter it by month. So that if you say, okay, what is our bank charges for January? We can just get only the bank charges that we incurred in January. Then say, okay, what's our bank charges for February? Or what is the sales that we made in January? like that. You cannot say, okay, just drop this your value date, right? You can drop the value date, drop it into the filter. So once you drop it into the filter, then it will be filtering by that date. So let's click on it. You can see, so each of those dates, you can see them. So you can say, okay, what is the transaction for the 5th of January? You click on OK, and it's going to only show us what the transaction for the 5th of January alone. There is a bank charges of 15 naira. There's also a commission, an income that came in for this amount. So pivot table is very good, but the only challenge with pivot table is that it will not do what sum if can do. Sum if there's a way you can fine tune sum if that sum if will not be okay. Let me do something. Let me undo. Sum if we not, you can see that here we have Heritage Bank, there's a figure. Here also there's a figure. So what sum if we do is that sum if will do plus and minus, credit and debit. So credit, you actually write off the debit, then you're going to have only one figure for Heritage Bank. So that is just the difference between using what's it called? Using pivot table. Pivot table, it will also give you the answer you're looking for. So in order to make this thing even more interesting, let's delete this one. Let's delete this one. Let's not save it, right? Don't save. Let's delete it. Let's now go back to this. Let me go to that. Sorry, did I just close that file? Wow, I'll close the file. Wow. Okay, so let me open it again. I think I put it on the desktop. Let me go to that file again. I think I put it on desktop. Desktop. Okay, so I come to this desktop and not this one. Yeah, do I look at this one? Yeah, I think this should be it. So let me open it again. Yes, so I've opened it. Now, yes, so this is it. So now let's come back to this place, right? So we want to use this big one to test what we just did. Let's try pivot table on this. You can see as much as this information is, right? As much as this information is, we can still use pivot table to quickly analyze it. Before 2 minutes, you are done analyzing it with pivot table. But we can also use our sum if. I'm going to show us how to use sum if to actually also analyze. So we click on anywhere in this table, right? When you click on anywhere in the table, come to your insert. Once you come to insert, right? Under your insert, come to this side called pivot table. So once you click on the pivot table, so it's going to tell us, okay, this is where our information is. So let's go and confirm that truly is actually capturing what we want to analyze. Okay, which is fine. Excel understands that that is what we want to capture, and it's fine. Then it tells us that it's going to create it on another new worksheet, which is also fine. We click on OK. Once we click on OK, we are here now. So the information we need, we know that we have narration, which is the narration we are looking for is actually Lake's narration. So we carry it and put it under the row because that Lake narration does not have anything to do. So look at how much these narrations are. We have all these narrations. There's even one that is blank, right? So we have blank spaces. All this narration, these are the narrations that we have. So this is actually, so it means that you can actually, there's a work I was giving that so you can actually use pivot table first. When you use pivot table, you can also go and use sum if. So we've gotten all the narrations, right? So we know that we have only one commission, we have only one contra entry and everything. Then next thing is that I want to now say, okay, what is the debit that came in for all these sales? So commission is sales and there's no debit, but every other thing, they are expenses, every other thing, they are expenses. So you can see the debit side. Now, surprisingly, let's now carry the credit and let's also drag it into the value box. Automatically, you can see that bank charges now is actually having two what's it called, two values. Then our commission is fine, only on the credit side. Then our standing bank, which is our cash and cash equivalent, is over here. So I think we can actually use pivot table to quickly analyze and get what our and quickly get what our trial balance is, you can see that quickly without wasting time, we've been able to get what our trial balance is going to look like. But let's also go and try. Another thing you can do is that you can also use, you can also, okay, we have seen all these things like this. Let's now filter it by, let's filter this by the value date, or you can filter it by month. Let's go and filter it by month first. So under that month, we have classified this as January, February, March. So let's filter it by month. We now put it here. Okay, so if you're filtering by month, you now come to the top now and check for, let's say you want to check for only transactions in January. You click on January, you click on OK, and look at it. Here, all the transactions in January. In January, we're able to make a commission of this amount. So let me see if we are still on the call. Fine. So in January, we're only able to make a sales of this value, right? The bank charges that occurred during that time, we have a bank charges of this value. Then we also have, when you see a bank charges on the credit side, it means that probably there's a transaction that reversed. When a transaction reversed, also the bank charge that you paid on it will also be reversed. So that's how we're able to get this. Then we have every other thing. So all these are only the transaction for January. In case they're asking you, just give me the transactions for January. Quickly, you can do this and get what you want to get. So I think pivot table is also very good, very good. With one click, you have gotten all the things you want to get, right? So let's also say that we also want to get for another month. Let's undo January and say, okay, it's only February we need. Only transaction for February. You can also click, you can get transactions for February. Okay, you can also get for only March. Transaction for March, you can quickly get for it. So it's very good for reports. When they're asking you, go and get me what we made for so and so time. So this is just analyze your bank statement. After you've analyzed the bank statement, then come and use your pivot table to actually get what you want to achieve from it. So this is May transaction, and this is June transaction. So this is fine. We have been able to get this. But let's now also go and try. And good thing is that it's also going to tell you that this is debit, sum of debit. It's also going to tell you sum of credit, okay? So that you will know what and what you are doing. So this is fine. But let's also go and try something else, right? Let's go and try something else. Let's now come back to this place. Let's come back to this place and let's go and try something. So we've done this one together, and you understand why. Okay, this is not what we actually worked on. This is not what we worked on. Okay, this is another bank statement altogether, but this is not what we worked on. So, but you've understood how to analyze the bank statement. Let me ask that first. Do we understand how to analyze the bank statement? Has somebody on mute is your mic? Is there anybody that understands how to analyze the bank statement, just like what I told us? Fine. So somebody understands. I know others that are joining late, they can also go back and watch the whatever, and then with that they can easily get what they want to get. Okay, so somebody hand is up. Molayoto, Sarah, do you have anything you want to say?
No. It's understood.
Okay, thank you. Your name is looking feminine, Molayoto. Are you a lady or a guy? Okay. Molayoto.
Don't mind me.
Okay, I wouldn't mind you. No issues. Okay, sir. So we now come over again. Let's now come back to what we are working on. We now come back to this file, right? So for those people that were not following when we did that, you can, let's quickly, should we redo that or we should just move on? Okay, let's move on. So let's go and work on the trial balance I said we are going to work on. So once you have...
Sorry, sir, my hand is up.
Okay, I can hear you. Go on.
My hand is up.
Go on.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for this training.
You're welcome,
so
sir.
I have one concern.
Okay.
I understand all this analysis of bank reconciliation. My concern is this: where we have opening balance that we put as credit, then the difference between the debit and the credit that we put under debit as closing balance. That is
Yes.
where my concern is. Because when we are posting now, I don't
Yes.
know, posting from trial balance, how are you going
Yes.
to classify, or are you going to take the difference between the opening balance and the closing as cash and cash equivalent, or how are we going to treat it? Because if you see in that trial balance, you see that they are both on the same role. They are both on the same role. So I'm concerned about how the treatment will be. If you can help me throw more light on it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that is why I said that we are going to use sum if. What sum if does is that sum if we are going. Let's go and use this before I answer your question. Let's go and use the sum if. When we use the sum if, you understand what we're actually doing. Okay, I think that is what I will just say. Just I get your
Okay, sir.
question. Yeah, I get it. That's why I told us that it's also good that we are using the pivot table. With one click, you have gotten everything you are looking for, right? With one click. However, you can still now try and see how you can use the if function with the sum if and see what it will give us. Okay, so let's go and use the if function and the sum if function to see what we are going to get out of that actual transaction. So here we have all this now. So what I'm going to do now is the way sum if operate, right? We always tell sum if that if you go to so place, right, you see so thing, some what is relating to that thing. So we've done our narration. So let's now come to our trial balance. If you come to this trial balance now, let's now check this trial balance. This trial balance is actually what I created for this actual stuff, right? So this trial balance, if you click on it now, let's now analyze it and see. Remember that whenever we are doing our if function is usually we use it to do a statement. From that statement, we will now also set two answers. The first answer when the statement to be set is correct, and the second answer when the statement is wrong. So let's look at this this one now. So on the debit side now, we now say equal to if. We now start the statement. We now say sum if. Before I also go and do sum if, let's try and remind ourselves how the sum if operates. How does the sum if operate? So the sum if this is how sum if normally does. I can just come here now. I say here, and I say that equal to, right? I'll now say sum if, so that when we see we are using it for a statement, we understand what we want to achieve. I'll say equal to sum if, right? I will open my bracket. I will not say that I'm coming to this sheet. Sum if here, I come to this here, I say from this G, like let me just select G, from G, right? So you can see what I did. Sum if from G like this, right? Let me now put dollar sign. Let me just put F4. Hey, so I said from that G, right? If you and I put a comma, I'll not say, oh, how am I doing? Undo. Yeah, from that G, comma, right? If you see this narration here, if you see this narration, right? Okay, I'm not supposed to. Okay, let me do something. Sorry. Yeah, if you see this narration, right? Let me also make it a dollar sign, dollar F4, but it will be something like it can roll down. No, not these. Yeah. So the column is going to remain on column C, but it can be rolling down row 4, row 5, row 6. So, and I say, okay, sum if from that place you see this narration, you now put the comma, then what are we trying to sum? Because we are trying to get for any of the side, maybe we are trying to get for the debit side, we now say, then we now come back to the same sheet again. You come back to the same sheet again, we now say sum this. So then you also now make this one have a dollar sign as well. So dollar sign. Yeah. So when we have done that, we now close our bracket. We close our bracket and then we click on enter. So what we're telling Excel is that when you come to this sheet that is called bank analysis June 2023, which is where we did our bank analysis, right? And I said that if you come there, if you come under leakage narration, right? If you come under this place, right? Then now check whether you can see this description. You know, under that narration, go and check whether you can see this description. If you can see this description, then go and sum whatever relates to that description in column where the debit is. So that's what we are telling Excel to do. So you must understand how sum if operates. So is there anybody on this call that does not understand the sum if? Because for you to be able to nest using if function to nest it, you must first of all understand how the sum if operates. I also know that a lot of us should understand how the if function operates. So because we now nest both of them together and we see what we are going to achieve from the call. So if you are here, you understand it, just give me a thumbs up. Let me be sure that we are together. I've explained the sum if now. Do we understand how sum if is? Thumbs up if you understand. So there's nobody that understands sum if.
I understand, though. We understand.
I do, sir.
And I said, give me a thumbs up if you understand. But most people are not. Okay, so that is fine. So a lot of people actually understand the sum if. We've done it over and over in the class. But I still did it now so that for the sake of emphasis. So I've done it again, right? So for the sake of emphasis, now let me also do it again. So you come here now, you now say, okay, we say equal to, you start with your sum if, you open your bracket, you now come to where is that, where do you want to go and be placing something for? We now come to here, we now say, come to this bank analysis, you click on bank analysis, then you now say, okay, where leakage narration is, check the place, right? So once you've checked the place, want to make sure that our Excel does not move away from that place. So check this leakage narration, and I put the $ to it, okay? Check leakage narration, comma. If you see this, our advertisement, if you see advertisement in that place, I click on it. If you see advertisements in that place, you can click on it like this. Okay, it's still fine. And you can decide not to click on it like that. You can decide to just press C4. You are still going to get it. So if you see advertisement, comma, right? You see advertisement, then comma, then I'll now say, okay, go and sum D. Sum D for me. So I can also put this, my D now. I can also make it like press F4 for that D. So sum that D. So once I've done that, I will now close the bracket and I click on enter. Automatically, you discover that it's going to give me 0. So let's copy this one and now paste it down. You discover that we are going to be seeing some figures because once you've nested it once, it's supposed to be giving you the answer you need. Ctrl V. I did not copy. Let me see. I copied now. Why is it not giving me anything? Ctrl V. Okay. Then down. Oh. From here, go down. This is and okay, then Ctrl V. All right, so you can see that is how we're able to do, and you can see that exactly what we have over here is what we're also having over here. But the difference is that here we did not tell Excel that do plus and minus. We just told Excel to give us everything that it's going to see, but we are still going to tell Excel do plus and minus in case you see bank charges on the credit side, you see bank charges on the debit side. Do plus and minus so that we can get the actual difference between it. So let me undo, and so on and so forth. Then here, let me now also do that. So once we have gotten that, let's now check this formula. This formula now, I will, okay, this formula. So we are saying equal to if we open our bracket, we start our statement. We say sum if from our bank analysis, you go to column G, right? We now put a comma. If you see advertisement, you can see advertisement here, which is $C4. If you see advertisement, comma, then go back to your bank analysis. Okay, go to column D. That's what we say. So we are told it to, like, if you see it, you should first of all add that one first. Then we now also put minus, also sum if, go to the same column G. Okay, if you see advertisement, go to column E, which is our credit side. Okay, also sum it. So we are telling that, let me tell us what we are telling Excel to do. This is what we told Excel to do. We told Excel that when you come to column G, if you see advertisement, right, go and sum column D, sum whatever figure that relates to advertisement that you saw in column D. Then you now say minus. Also come and check this your column G. If you see advertisement, go and sum the credit side. Any advertisement that you see on the credit side. So we are going to do that plus and minus. So what you are going to have left is going to be the difference. That's what we are telling Excel to do. Let's go back to it again. That's just the only difference between what I nested and what they nested. Okay, that's just the only difference. So look at it. I say, if you can check the formula bar to check what I'm doing. So the formula bar, right? I said if I open my bracket, I say sum if from that bank analysis for June, okay, 2023 for June. If you go to column G, right, then come and check for advertisement. Advertisement here is on C, whatever. Check for advertisement. We see advertisement, go to column D and sum it. Column D is where the debit is. Then when I say whatever answer you get, minus, go back to that column G. If you see advertisement, go to the credit side, add everything together. So you are not doing that plus and minus, okay? Whatever answer you've got, we now say the answer is greater than 0. That's the first thing we did, okay? So we are done with our statement. The statement we made is that we say equal to if, we open our bracket, we say the bank charges on the debit side minus the bank charges on the credit side. Okay, at the end of the day, we still have something that is greater than 0. So that is the statement we are making. So we say the bank charges that we got on the, so it's like when we are using the bank charges, we say go to column G, if we see bank charges, add all the bank charges on the debit side, right? Then minus, go to column G also, if you see bank charges, add all the bank charges that fall on the credit side. We now say that answer you are going to get at the end of the day, when you do that plus or minus, the answer is actually greater than 0. That's what we said. We said the answer should be greater than 0. We now put a comma. So when Excel goes there and Excel tries it and Excel see that is actually greater than 0, what will Excel do? Excel will come and do this. Excel will now say, Excel will now repeat the same thing that we told Excel to do. We now go and say the bank charges on the debit side minus the bank charges on the credit side. That's what it's going to do. Okay. But if the bank charges on the credit side minus the bank charges on the bank charges on the debit side, right? Usually the debit side, the bank charges is actually is actually an expense, right? Which is supposed to be on the debit side. So we are telling Excel that if you go to the debit side and you add all the bank charges together, right? Then if you minus all the bank charges on the credit side, at least it should be greater than 0. So if it's greater than 0, then go and repeat the process again. Add the bank charges on the debit side minus the bank charges on the credit side. What is the answer that we're going to get? But if it's less than 0, then we don't want any figure. Just return 0 to us. Because normally bank charges should be a debit entry, right? Bank charges should be so if that bank charges is actually greater than if the bank charges on the credit side is actually greater than the bank charges on the debit side, then we don't want to see it because we don't want to have anything negative on the debit side, right? We only want something that is positive on the debit side. So we now say if it's not greater than 0, do not give us any figure. Just return 0 to us. So let me ask, is there anybody that is confused on this thing I just mentioned? Because it's something I've been using to sing song all along. So this is what we just did. I've also shown us how to link a worksheet, right? I've also taught us how to link a worksheet. So that is what we did. So on the debit side, we simply say, Excel, go to this bank analysis for June 2023, check the latest narration. Once you check it, add the bank charges on the debit side, right? Then go back to this space, check for bank charges again, add the bank charges on the credit side, then do the plus and minus. Naturally, bank charges is supposed to be on the debit side, which is an expense, but in a situation whereby when you say the debit side, the expenses minus what is coming on the credit side, if it is greater than zero, we say it's greater than zero already. We say it's greater than zero. But if it's not greater than zero, then it means don't give us any answer on that debit side, because it obviously means that our debit side, there's nothing remaining there. Our credit side is higher than the debit side, okay? But let me not confuse us. You just need to go and try this formula that we have there. Maybe what I will do is that I will send us this sheet, this expense sheet, right? We need to go and try it for ourselves and let us see what is inside this thing. You need to go and try it. Number one, you need to learn how to use the if function. You know that the if function, you use it when you are making a statement. So this if function now, they use it, then they now make the statement with the sum if, right? So they make the statement with the sum if. So the only thing they are trying to say is that transaction on the debit side is greater, should be greater than transaction on the debit and the credit side, because that transaction is actually an expenses. We actually expect that if bank charges is on the debit side and any bank charges is on the credit side, the bank charges that is on the debit side should be more than the bank charges that will fall to the credit side, okay? Because we know bank charges is actually an expense. When in a situation whereby it's not so, we don't want to see anything on that debit side. We don't want to see a negative figure on the debit side. So that's what we told it. Then to now do for credit side, we now do the opposite. We say it's less than zero. Instead of us saying it's greater than zero. So we now went again, we now say sum if under G, you see C5, right? You see C5, right? There we say go and sum the debit side minus, you also do the sum if you see the same advertisement, okay, exactly the same formula that we use for the debit side is also the same formula that we use for the credit side. But the only difference is that when we finish making our statement for the debit side, we say it should be greater than zero. But here, when we finish doing for the credit side, we say it should be less than zero. Okay, so if they say that it's not less than zero, debit side minus credit side is not less than zero, then you're going to give another answer. So I've been able to explain that, and that is what we did here to be able to do the plus and minus. You can see that plus and minus, we did it in that place. So obviously, we now see that our bank statements, our cash and cash equivalent, which is this. Let me paint it. Our cash equivalent, which is this, right, is now giving us another answer. Look at the stuff. This is it. So in order for us to be rest assured that what I actually did is what they did, right? We are going to not do it by ourselves, okay, in this class. We're going to do it by ourselves in this class. Now, we already know that here, under this, our test, is this test that we're using for our narration. Are we together, everybody? Are we together? A lot of people some people are leaving the call. So we already know that is this test that we're actually using for, is a test that we're using for our stuff, right? So we want to now go and, so let's say this is a commission. So let's say this is like commission. So if I were the one, what I would do is that because your transaction can be so much like this, and then you cannot at a go know the numbers of transactions or the numbers of different names that you have over here. So want to have the list of all this thing, and that is why we're able to. That's why we did this stuff the other time. This stuff that we did the other time. That I'm coming. Let me check. That we went and this stuff that we did the other time, and we're able to see all the list of items that are there. So if you know all the list of items that are there, it becomes easier for you to use it for your whatever. So let's copy all these things that are here. Let's assume we want to use all these things that are here. We copy it like this. We copy it like this, right? When we copy it, right, we now come back to not the test data actually. Let's come back to another sheet. I'm coming. Let me just create a sheet here in front of the text. Okay, I'll just put a plus. Okay, that plus now. Then I will now put this one. I'll Ctrl V. So now we have all this information now. So what we want to do is I want to have the debit side, right? So this is like the narration that I want to use. Let's go and check that trial balance. What we have on trial balance. On the trial balance here, we have description, account type, usually description, account type, opening balance, debit side, credit side. So let's copy this. Let's copy this like this. We copy this like this, and we bring it over to this side. I copy like this. I come to this side, and I come and paste it special. So let me paste it special. I come over here, and I come to, then I do right click, then I come like this. I want to paste it special. So this is paste special. I paste it special. Okay. So the next I want to do is that I want to delete all these things that are here, because I've been able to use, what's it called? I'll be able to use let's also delete what is here. I'll be able to use pivot table to give me the list of things that are there. So I don't need to start testing myself. So I just come back to where my pivot table is, right? I copy these names that are here. I come back to my, I come back to this sheet. Under my description, this is what I want to have under my description. I want to have this these figures on my description, right? The next I want to do is that you can also test whether this thing is the same thing that is here. Remember that yesterday I also told us, I also show us how to test. You can test whether this thing and that thing are exactly the same thing that are there. So what is that formula that we say we use for exact to test yesterday? Can you remember? Hello? Can you remember?
I think the exact function.
So equal to exact. Okay, exact, Abi.
Yes.
Exact. Then we now say open our bracket. We now say this. Yeah, that means that place should be it should be like the same, but this is now, they are not arranged the way we want it to be arranged. So we can click on here, exact here, we put on a comma, right? They will now come over here also. Want to also select but let me check something. We also want to select this, right? They will close our bracket, they will click on enter. So they say it's true. So you can see that that's audit and whatever is true. Then we can just click and because that thing is not sorted the way this one is sorted, right? You can see that only one bank charges is what they saw here, and that is what is here. Underneath it, we have other things, not bank charges, but at least we can see that the first thing that is standing on the same row, they are showing us that they are the same, that no issue, no formatting issue, no whatever, everything is fine. So we can use the figure the way it is, right? So that's, I think we were able to do some form of testing, right? Okay, because if we decide to sort this thing alphabetically, there are a lot of bank charges, and those bank charges, they will not show that it's only one bank charges that is available. But this one has been sorted alphabetically, and we only have one of those items. So that is fine. So let's now, this is going to be our account type. We're going to do that later. But what we want to achieve here is this place. So let's delete all these things that are here. Let's delete all these ones that are here. We already know that it's the same formula that they are using. But the only thing is that at the end of their statement, they are saying is greater than 0, which obviously we expect that anything that's supposed to be debit, when you subtract it from anyone that's spilled over to the credit side, it's supposed to actually be greater than 0.20. So when I come over here, okay, we want to start doing our own analysis. When I say equal to, remember I want to use if, Abby. We say if. When you use the if, you're going to make a statement, right? When you make a statement, then want to make a statement. We now say sum if. We open our bracket. When I say sum if, what do we now do? When I come to this, our bank analysis, we say under this bank analysis, go and check this column G, right? So let's make this our column G permanent. So that is our column G. Go to column G, right? When you go to your column G, comma, go and search for what we have over here, which is auditor's fee. So auditor's fee is on B, is it B4? So now say B4, look for auditor's fee, right? So this auditor's fee now, because all the names, they are all listed on column B, right? So we want to make our B to have a dollar sign. We make our B to have a dollar sign so that the rows can be shifting. They will not put a comma. Okay, then next thing that, okay, we have said, okay, if you go to this, our bank analysis, if you go to column D, we check under the narration that I put there for latest narration. Once you check it, comma, check whether you see auditor's fee. I put comma. Then what else do I want you to do? I say, okay, when you have seen auditor fee, come and sum all the auditor's fee figure that you can see on column B, which is the expense. So I've done that. So what else will I do? I will close my bracket. Then next I want to do is I want to say, okay, after you've done that, then anyone that is now minus anyone that is now on column. So we have to repeat the process. Then I say, also come here. Also come here. Check the narration again, right? So for this narration, I want to make it like I want to make it permanent. So check the narration again, right? Then after you've said check the narration, you put a comma, and I say again, go and check this auditor's fee again, which is on B4. Check auditor's fee, which is on B4. So let me now make it dollar sign, okay? B4, comma. Then go and sum whatever figure that relates to it under the column, under the credit side, right? Once we do that, we want to make everything absolute. No, not here, absolute. Absolute. Yeah, so absolute. So I click on F4. So once I've done that, then the next thing, I'm done making that statement, but I'm not done. So I've told it, go and check. What I'm telling you, I said that go and check debit side, right? Whatever you see that relates to audit fee, subtract it from the credit side. Whatever auditor's fee that fall on the credit side, subtract it. Then at the end of the day, because audit fee is an expenses, we're expecting audit fee to actually be greater than on that will be on the debit side. It should be greater than what will fall on the credit side. So when I say the answer you're going to get should be greater than 0, is greater than 0. We are done making our statement, right? We now put a comma. So if that thing is greater than 0 in actual sense, we now also say we now repeat the statement. We now repeat the statement as the answer. When I say sum if, open our bracket. When I say you come here, right? And comma. When you come here, so let me make this one permanent by putting F4. So when you come here, right, then you actually see the auditor's fee, which is on B4. So we want to make our B absolute also. So make our B absolute by pressing F4, right? So you come there, you see that We now put comma. We now say you should go and sum everything under the debit side. Once you sum everything under the debit side, then let's put our F4 here. Yeah. So once I've done sum everything on the debit side, we close our bracket. We now say minus. We now say sum if. We open our bracket again. We now say come to this place again. If you come to this our latest narration, make everything absolute. F4, right? Come to the latest narration, then comma. If you see this auditor's fee, which is in $B4, right? There, comma. We now say that sum the figure on the columns on the credit side. We also make this one. Absolute, which is this for. Then we now close our bracket. We close our bracket. Then we now click on enter. Oh, sorry, I'm not done. Yeah. So alternatively, we now say that if you don't get that, then comma, give us 0. Give us 0. So click on enter. So you can see the way I was able to nest this formula. Why? Because I understand it. So if you come to this auditor's fee now, let's go to auditor's fee now. Auditor's fee, you can see is 160. So we told Excel, come to the debit side. Whatever you see on the debit side, right? Minus what you see on the credit side. That's what we told you to do. But before we start telling you to do that, before we tell him that, is only when what is on the credit side is higher than what is on the what's on the debit side is higher than what's on the credit side. That's why you should now go on to now repeat the process. However, if it's not the same, do not bother. So that is what we did here. So with this now, we can just do something like this. Oh, I think, did I make a mistake somewhere? I think I made a mistake somewhere or something. Why is it only giving me?
Yes, sir. The place you put B4, the 4 is not supposed to be absolute.
Okay, where is that place? I can't remember. Okay, yeah, Abby.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. I didn't know I did that too. Okay, this one is fine. Then what about this one? B4, this one is also fine. Is there any other one I did like that? Okay, I think that's the only one.
That's right. Only that's a yes.
Yeah, so let's just now double tap it. Hey, it has worked the way we want to do. So exactly what we did for this side is exactly the same thing that we need over here on the credit side. Exactly the same formula you have on the debit side, what you need on the credit side. But the only difference is that you now come to this place where you have the end of your statement where you say greater than 0. Now put it as less than 0. That's all. That is all. Put it as less than 0 and click on enter. So then what you now do is that you now come here and now you can see exactly the same formula. Then the next thing you want to do is that at the end of the day, you also want to now say this thing times, I think you want to multiply it by -1, multiply by times, when I say -1 at the end of the day. So when I say enter, then let's now autofill this one now. Okay, so that's it. So at the end of the day, what you just want to do is that after you have done the same formula, okay, this same formula, okay, just come to the end of the statement, put it as less than 0. Once you have done that, then at the end of it also, come and say times -1. That's all. And you see that where we have our sales, which is our commission, we have a positive figure and every other thing is fine. So with this, we are done with this stuff. So we can now decide to now say, okay, auditor's fee, what is it? Is it an expense, right? Is it an expense? Are we putting it under provisions? Is it going to be like a current liability? You know, there are times that your auditor's fee can be here, but yeah, so this is your trial balance, right? On your trial balance, you can have your trial balance is not just your profit. It does not only take the items of your profit and loss account. It takes all the items, both items of profit and loss account, items of financial position, balance sheet. So you can see that your auditor's fee, you can classify it as not an expense, provided is if it falls to the other side or something like that. So that's just it. But what I'm more particular about today is this thing I am showing us how to nest it. You can see that I just did it exactly the way I taught us. Is there any question? Is anybody confused? The man that asked the other question the other time about our bank statement, which is this, you can see that at the end of the day, we are telling Excel to go and do plus and minus. Is the difference that we're going to have as our cash and cash equivalent. The difference is what we're going to. Now, don't forget that our cash and cash equivalent is usually an asset, right? It's usually an asset. So you can see that it's actually on the on the debit side. Let's go and check it. Let's go and check that stuff. Let's go and check that stuff. So you can discover that our cash and cash equivalent at the beginning, let's check for balance, opening balance. Let's check for opening balance. So let me do A to Z. Then let me check for opening balance. Oh, okay. Let me check for opening balance. Sorry. I can search opening OP, opening balance. Okay, so these are opening balance. Fine. So let's click on OK. Yeah. So all these is our opening balance. Our opening balance is actually 319,000, right? So let's now go also and check for our closing balance. Let's get everything done together, closing. So let's now check for both of them, opening and closing. Is there where I can do that? Opening, opening balance. Okay, I've seen that. Then let me also check for closing balance. Then I also come here. Closing balance. Yeah, this also. Okay, our closing balance is actually higher than our opening balance. So this is 325, whatever. So the plus and minus is giving us what we have, 325, and the other one is like 319. So the plus and minus is giving us what we have over there. So that is what we have over there. Yes, let's now also check for this other thing that we did over here. So this other thing that we did over here, let's check for that test, right? So this is the test, but the test, our closing balance is actually 70 whatever, and this is this. So when we try for this minus this, I'm sure when we say this one minus this one is going to be greater than, no, it's going to be lesser than 0. So it's not going to give us any figure. Then we now also do this one, this minus this, whatever is giving us, it's not giving us on the credit side. Okay, so that's fine. So that's the way we are able to do that. All right. Any question? Is it confusing? Do we understand it? Is it simple? Do we need to continue to practice it before we can get it? Or we've understood it? We just need to go home and try it out. Which of them? Let's unmute our mic. You can see that most of the things that we are learning, it's time to actually execute them. It's time to execute them. Unmute your mics. Any
Hello, sir.
question? I can hear you.
Hello,
I can
sir.
hear you. Go on. Go on. I can hear you. Go on.
Okay. So my question still lies on the closing balance.
Okay.
You know, the closing balance we did was the difference between the debit column and the credit column.
Yes.
Is there a way we can check if what we report here as the closing balance is actually what is left in the accounts? Or once
Okay,
we have
so
this difference, we can take it as the closing balance.
now, so it will be it will be the difference, right? It will be the difference because I'm coming. I'm trying to like understand your question. yeah, most times, right? Most times, balance is just balance is just balance. Most times is the difference between your credit and your debit posting. That's your balance now, right? That is what your balance will actually be most of the time. So, and yeah, so your question, except we have a bank statement we want to use, which I don't have anyone that is a live bank. You can see what we analyze is actually this big whatever that we analyze. It's a big bank statement that it's not today that we did it. It's a long time ago, since 2021 was when I've done this, and I cannot even tell where the actual bank statement is, but that is how I've been doing it. Okay, that's how even the auditors that trained me, that's how they have been doing it. You understand that now? So that's how we have been doing it, and that's how the auditors that trained me, that's how they have been doing it. However, let me also check here. I'm coming. Let me check my cash and cash equivalent here. If I can actually get the year. So this is cash and cash equivalent. Okay, well. So except you have a live bank statement to test what you have said, right? Except you have a live bank statement, but that is how we do it in practice. That's what I'm showing you, sir. The way it's been done in
thank
practice.
you very much. I've understood. But I'll
Yes.
just tell you my situation.
Okay.
I have more than one bank statement that I made, and this is what
Okay.
I did. I analyzed them separately, just like you did.
Okay.
And I have like 3 different accounts that are not Naira, so I had to convert them after the
Okay.
analysis. I have to convert them with a rate. Then I now bring all of them and merge them.
Okay.
After the merge, I use the merged bank statement, which comprised of all the bank statements, and I
Okay.
converted it to pivot table. Now,
Okay.
the difference I had in my bank statement, I wasn't sure if the difference
Accurate.
is the closing balance. Yeah, is accurate exactly because of the conversion. So that
Okay.
was my situation. Yes, sir. But
Okay.
now with your explanation, I've understood if I am doing a Naira account or either one statement or so. So
Mhm.
I know that now my problem is from the conversion.
Yeah. So do it
So I
separately.
don't know. Okay.
Yes, you can also
Thank
see that.
you,
Yeah,
sir.
you're welcome, sir. You can
Okay.
also see that I also said your opening balance. If you are doing different banks, okay, your opening balance, make sure you say this is opening balance for so bank, so that when you also do the closing balance, you also say this is closing balance for so bank, so that you not make them together and all that. That's why I am doing all this narration, even all these things you're seeing me putting all the sources, so that you can also see use this one to sort and say, okay, show me my transactions for only Stanbic Bank. You can easily check also sort this side, the narration, to see the bank statement and all that. So the name of the bank that you're looking for. So if you are able to do that, you are good to go. So that is the way we normally do it. So most times, what we're doing is that we're saying the credit side minus the debit side, even in accounting, right? You see that when you are balancing account, the stage balance account, the highest side is what you have at the bottom, right? Then the difference is what they will not carry into the opposite side that does not have enough balance. So they'll carry it inside. So if they carry that difference into that place, if you add that difference plus what was originally in that place, it's going to give us the total amount that is at the bottom. I don't know if you understand, sir.
Sorry, sir. My network cut me off. Now I'm back. I didn't hear
Okay.
you from the beginning, sir.
Okay, so I'm saying that anyway, everything we have told you is just okay. So I think we should just leave it like that. Yeah, let's just leave it like that. Because I was just trying to also use why I put the difference on the debit side. Most times when you're balancing account in accounting, you're going to add everything together at the balance, right? The highest side is what is going to be at the balance of the both side. So they will not carry like the difference. If the credit side is higher than the debit side, that difference is what they carry over to the other side that is not up to the credit side. Do you know that's how they do it in accounting?
Yes, sir.
It's the same thing we did here. It's the same thing we did. So we just carry it over here, and then that is became our closing balance. So that's why we now say this minus the opening balance to get what the difference is going to be. So that's that, sir. So on that note,
Okay. In a situation where the debit side is higher than the credit side,
yes,
and you take the difference to the credit.
yes,
So if we apply this formula, this if formula,
yes.
so the difference will be, I think the difference will still be credit, but what will it be?
Yeah, the difference with credit. So you know that that formula is twice. It's twice that is going to be testing those things. It's going to test that thing on the debit side. So if you test it on the debit side and it discover that the debit amount is not enough to actually absorb the credit amount, right? Obviously, the statement we made that will say it must be greater than zero. That statement will not apply because our debit side was not actually greater than our credit side. So it will be greater than zero. So it means that Excel is going to pick zero for us. It's not going to go and do that sum if, so and so minus sum if, the actual figure. But it will also now test it again on the credit side to say that, okay, the debit side minus the credit side should be less than zero. You go and test it on the credit side. So if it's not showing on the debit side, if you go and pick it on the credit side, that's what I'm telling you. So it's either going to be like it is is an asset, or it's going to be like an overdraft. I don't know if you understand, sir.
Yes.
So
I
that's what it could
understand.
be. Yeah. So it could be like an asset to us, okay, or it could be like an overdraft or something like that.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. So I think with that, we just need to ask questions before we go. In case there's anybody here that does not understand the if function, that does not understand the sum if, kindly raise your hand. Let's check again. Let's check it again. Let's do it together in case you don't know it. I know we've been doing it together. You can see how the PP table really came easy for us now. So now, if I want to do any analysis like this now, once I'm done with that analysis, okay, I don't need to start going to sort it to check the drop down box to look at how many items did I classify. I'll just first of all use the pivot table to first of all do it. So whatever I do under the pivot table is going to go and sort it on its own. Okay, if there are 1 million bank charges, it's going to pick only one name as bank charges. So it's going to sort it and only pick each of the individual items. So I'll just carry it and go and use my sum if, because I will not want figure to be showing on the debit side and the credit side at the same time. I want sum if to be able to do the net plus and minus and give me the net amount. So any question, please, before we go, any question, who has any question, any clarification, you don't understand what you're doing, it's looking like magic, you can speak up. Any area you don't understand. We've looked at the if function, we've looked at the sum if function, we also look at the pivot table also in this class. We also look at how to analyze our bank statement. So we also look at how to convert our bank statement from PDF format to Excel format. So which of them don't you understand? Which of them don't you understand? Which of them is difficult for you? Feel free to ask questions. Okay, so if you understand everything we've said, give me a thumbs up on the chat. Thumbs up. That's fine. So you understand. Any other person? Okay. So I just feel that we need to go back and continue to practice, right? Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect.
Sorry, sir. I don't know. I actually want to ask a question, though it is not not part of what we did tonight. I remember in one of the classes, someone was asking about, like, maybe you work on a particular workbook, and maybe you want to prevent it so that when somebody else maybe touch it, it will not like alter your formula and all the things you done on it. So, and looking at this last analysis you did on the using the sum if and the if function together, you discover that it's a very long formula that somebody needs to even practice and master it. So, in such situation, how do we, like, if somebody work on it and get it correctly, how do we ensure that it is protected so that nobody, someone else will not alter it? So that's my question.
Okay, so I'm coming. Yeah, so the question you're asking now is how to protect your sheet, right? That's what you're talking about. How to protect the sheet so that somebody else will not go and tamper with like the formulas you've nested into your workbook and everything. Somebody will not go and truncate your efforts. Is that what you're trying to say, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to do that, but definitely not tonight because we have like less than 90 minutes to the end of the class. So we can't do that tonight, but you can remind me tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, right? Yeah, so you can remind me tomorrow. Probably we look at all those things then. We also look at some other areas that we also feel that we've not actually grabbed well. Then we also consider other things as well. So is there any other question?
No any other question, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. So in the absence of any other question, I want to say thank you all for your time tonight. And I believe it has been a very wonderful experience, right? At least now we can have what's the word now? I've taught us most of those things. So, and when we are now seeing them in formulas, it doesn't look so strange to us. Now we can have a place where we can meet, right? A meeting point, a meeting ground on those things, so that it doesn't look like it's magic. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Do have a lovely night rest, and the record will be dropped on the WhatsApp, sorry, on the YouTube as usual. Thank you very much.